Welcome to the June 7th, 2018 episode of Reactive Consciousness, the in-depth podcast about what happened this week in our lives. I am your host, Vise the Bold, and this is...
Lotus Prince.
In fact, fun.
Oh man, back again?
Yeah.
Nice. Because you didn't get enough of deprecating humor before.
I love that stuff. Keep throwing it at me.
It's funny.
I love it, guys. I do.
This week, I know Lotus and I are pretty psyched about this, but like, we wanted to react right away to the Gorillaz actually like announcing a brand new album after only about a 1 year.
Yeah, for them, that's fast.
Maybe less than a year of releasing an album after like a long hiatus. So
not to mention, by the way, their last album, Humans, that was a collaborative album. Wasn't the band they were working with called Humans?
Oh, I don't think so, but maybe, I don't know.
Because they worked with others. I know Gorillaz is like,
in general,
I know they always work with other people, but I think that they were collaborating with a band that already existed. So this is, I think, back to like a more traditional Gorillaz album.
So, for anybody who doesn't know this already, Gorillaz is my favorite band and has been ever since high school. So it's awesome, like, to actually like see like the just the sheer amount of content that they're releasing. Not only with Humans did they release, like, it was a long album and had quite a few tracks.
Yeah.
But they released a bunch of songs after that and a bunch of remixes after that. After it had already been released. So it took them so this was released in April 2017. Humans was. So basically just a year later, and their previous album before that, The Fall, which was, their least successful album probably, I don't think without any doubt, was in 2011, just to give people context. So you go from 6 years to just 1 year. That's like insane, and most musical artists don't release an album in a year. They don't do. It's just so hard to do. So this is.
Oh, by the way, I think I might have been wrong about the collaborating with another band. It was just collaborating with a bunch of other artists like they usually do.
Yeah.
Oh,
so
okay.
I'm a liar.
Yeah.
It's
Liar and
fine.
cheat.
Misinformation.
Yeah.
You've been deducted $5 Patreon dollars.
Yeah, 5. Yeah, you're 5. Yeah, 5 points from Gryffindor.
You lose. Snape, Cerberus Snape. But so this new album is called The Now Now, and they released already a music video to cap it off, which they usually do. They release a single usually before they release an album.
Yeah, I think like what was for Humans, it was like Saturn Bars.
Yeah, it was Saturn Bars.
It was like the first ever 360 degree. Not music video, but animated music video.
It was really neat. That whole experience that they had released on like Twitter and Instagram, was really neat. And for anybody who doesn't know about this, I've been following. Part of the reason why I like Gorillaz is it's not just a band. The music is great on its own. I love the music, but on top of it, it's an experience. It's like whenever they do interviews with them, the characters, like they treat them like they're real. So they have all this lore that gets revealed over the course of a lot of like different forms of media, the music videos, and
the music videos themselves like have a legitimate like plot.
Their website it always is basically like a point and click adventure game that constantly changes.
Oh, nice!
Like they're just so much. It's just so much fun, and I'm a big animation fan, and I love Jamie Hewitt's art style. It's so kinetic.
Speaking of animation and art style, they have radically different art styles across their various albums as well. Like I think it was Plastic Beach was like they had like a hyper realistic look, like especially like in Stylo, like there was like realistic 3D animation. Was Stylo Plastic Beach or Demon Days?
Oh no, that was actually Stylo was actually on no, that was on Plastic Beach. It
was plus, yeah. So they had a more realistic look for the Plastic Beach stuff. The Demon Days still had like relatively realistic looking 3D, but it was a different style. You could tell. Humans was very like janky cartoon like puppet being moved around for a lot of the music videos. Humility looks like it's going back to like faux 3D, but like 2D, like more standard cartoon animation. Like it's different every time.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, and I just love that. I've been to 2 of their concerts, and they're going to be playing in Philadelphia again with this tour as well. They announced a new tour to go along with it. On top of it,
yeah, I might actually want to go to this one because I've never been to a Gorillaz concert, and I hear that they're an experience.
Oh, they're always different too. Yeah. On top of that,
and by the way, like the people today talk about like Hatsune Miku being this like this hologram projected character doing onstage performances, but Gorillaz did that first.
Yeah, in fact, they say that they're the most successful like virtual artist is what they call them. Probably the most mainstream original one was Alvin and the Chipmunks. But this is the whole point of this was at the time the Damon Albarn was getting sick of all of the boy band craze. So he invented a fake band, like a literal fake band, in order to compete with all of the bands he thought were fake at the time.
It's almost like this is Spinal Tap, except that people like there was a mockumentary, but a lot of people believe that the band Spinal Tap was real. But it's like, what if Spinal Tap were real?
Yeah, it's really great. I recommend picking up the Rise of the Ogre biography book as well, because it reveals a lot of lore in that. There's also nice. An audiobook version that is read by the characters, which is really great.
I was gonna say with Gorillaz, like normally I don't do audiobooks because
I would say that it's a better experience.
That's its own thing. Yeah,
I would. Well, other than the fact that you're missing out on the art, there's a lot of like Jamie Hewitt art in the Rise of the Ogre book.
Okay.
But I missed the Plastic Beach tour, but I saw the one of 3 nights in Harlem for the Demon Days tour. So they only did 3 nights in Manchester, and I think 3 nights in Harlem, and so I got to see one of the 6 shows. So I was super psyched. They played the whole album, which was neat.
And Demon Days was for a while. It may even still be considered to be their best album.
It's probably my favorite album of all time.
Humans is goddamn good though.
Humans is so is Plastic Beach.
I think Plastic. Well, with Humans, I actually really have to wonder. But between Plastic Beach and Demon Days, I think I prefer Plastic Beach, although. Like, there's no beating Feel Good Inc., but I think I might prefer Plastic Beach, even though I might acknowledge Demon Days might be the better album.
Speaking of Feeling Good Inc., did you see the video, Steamed Hams Inc.?
Yes, we did. That was unbelievable.
It's amazing.
Shake it. Steamed Hams. Like, yeah, it worked better than it had a right to, by the way.
I know.
Yeah, that was really good. I'm excited. I wanted to point out something in particular. Everybody should watch the new music video. The new
Humility.
Song is called Humility, and it's a very laid back, summery kind of like laid back song. And I really like its feel. But it's not an upbeat song. Well, it is an upbeat song, but it's not like a dance tune or anything like that.
It's not, but yeah, it is like the whole aesthetic. I say aesthetic based on the video, but like it is very positive. It's like bright days and like very like flattering shots of the city and the beach and the people and everything. And Jack Black having a hell of a time.
I was just gonna say Jack Black is in it, and it's great. He's playing the hell out of that guitar.
I still think one of my favorite parts of the video. It's so stupid, but it's when Noodle is playing chess against a guy, and she must checkmate him or did some sweet move because the guy takes off his sunglasses. Like what? But he's like wearing another pair of sunglasses under it. It's like, what?
I love stuff like that. But the biggest
Oh my god!
surprise, the biggest surprise is that Murdoch is no longer the bassist of the band, and keep in mind, Murdoch is the also the leader, technically the leader of the band. Because
based on the lore, he like basically has everyone hostage.
well, not only that, but it's his band. Like he started the band. So in the lore, and 2D was hired actually later. He's not 2D is not an original member. So anyway, what's great about it was Murdoch in the lore got arrested and put into jail. And there's a new bassist, and it's Ace from the frickin' Powerpuff Girls. Literally, Ace, like a side character from the Gangrene Gang in the Powerpuff Girls that ended, like 15 years ago.
Oh, yeah, it was on Cartoon Network when we were in high school. So here's the funny thing. See, Murdoch in the Gorillaz, he has the same, like white person flesh tone, color skin as everybody else in, like, the first album. But in the lore, I think he sold his soul to the devil for, I forgot what reason. What was it, talent or something?
Oh, to be the best bassist or whatever.
Yeah. So he over the time, like, that's why his skin is green now. And he looks like a freaking Frankenstein's monster. Like, his skin is green as a result of him, like, having dealt with the occult, like, and coming way too close to, like, forces beyond his control. So when I saw Ace in the Humility video, I was like, oh, well, it's Murdoch just with, like, a very familiar looking hairstyle. But then I saw like a bunch of different websites and like official like sources, and it was like, no, it's actually this fucking Gendy Tartakovsky Cartoon Network character who just like he's just. And like the music video, like you know how you don't really see the characters play the actual instruments with some exceptions in the music video. Like you do see Murdoch play in Feel Good Inc., but like usually they're just doing their thing because music videos are just like adventures with the music in the background. So all you see is just two guys shooting hoops, and the basketball lands near Ace, and he just stabs the ball with a knife and lets it blow away. He's like, ha, like I ruined your experience, and that was it. And it's just like that was Ace. Like yep. And the funny thing is the Gangrene Gang aren't like top tier villains of the Powerpuff Girls either. Like they're like, I'm not gonna say they're like B-list maybe. It's like I've heard of them. Like they're like fluffy, like Fuzzy Lumpkins level like bad guy.
Fuzzy Lumpkins was actually the original bad guy in Powerpuff Girls.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. But there's actually like I think there's 4 members of the Gangrene Gang, and they're surprisingly similar to the Gorillaz actually. Yeah. Like I'm mainly thinking Ace and Billy. Billy the big guy, he's like Russell of the Gorillaz, and Ace is like and they're all green, but Ace, his attitude is like is Murdoch. I forgot the other guy's name though, the little guy who talks fast and he has like a vaguely Hispanic accent. And he's the guy who like combs his hair with like the switchblade comb.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know if he really corresponds to anybody. Like Noodle is like adult size now, but she was like the little kid of the group in the early days, so who knows.
Yeah, I just think this is hilarious. Like they did.
I gotta see where this goes. Show me other music videos.
Crossover with like something that you would never expect them to cross over.
The fucking Powerpuff Girls. Like it's one of those things that you don't expect it because it's like, who would think to do that and why would they bother? Like why this? Like Ace is a green guy and Murdoch's a green guy. I'll give him that, but like what?
You know what probably happened is Jamie Hewitt was probably having a bit of fun and just like kind of drawing something, and I think he's friends with either Craig McCracken or Gendy Tartakovsky. So
okay.
So he asked for permission after probably doing something funny, and then,
that's freaking incredible.
Yeah, maybe
because like I really thought it was Murdoch because like. That's like stabbing a basketball and letting it blow away. Like, losers. Yeah, that is absolutely something he would do. Like, Murdoch is a dangerous guy, but usually you see him just like, whenever he gets into dangerous stuff, it's like because he has to. But like when he's just on his own and gets to do what he wants, it's usually more like mischief beyond the kind that we would find acceptable. But it's not gonna like cause physical trauma or anything. He's just kind of being a jerk.
Yeah, yeah.
So, like, Ace was basically doing that. Like, Ace has a knife. Oh my god, he's the kind of guy who would mug you, but nah, stabs a guy's basketball because he's a dick. Like, that's really it.
Yeah.
All right.
And he's also Ace of Base.
Ooh, nice.
Oh,
that would technically be true, yeah. I really wonder, though. I want to see more music videos. Like, and the thing with the Gorillaz is, as you said, Vice, not all the videos on YouTube are music videos. Sometimes they are interviews with the cast members or, like, just little interludes or whatever. I want to see what the hell Ace does. Like, how did he agree to go on? Is he going to perform? Does Ace actually know the bass?
Well, no. He'll probably be in the cinematics during the the tour. So
I want to see that so bad.
Yeah, they have a lot of like promotional drawings of him like in the style of the band, and they look great. Like
he's a more badass looking Ace, because Ace was obviously drawn within the context of Powerpuff Girls art style, so like he was badass within that context, but now it's a Gorillaz version of him, so it's like, oh damn.
Absolutely.
Gorillas.
Yeah, so I can't wait. Maybe offline you and I can talk, Lotus, about getting some tickets here, but
Philly's. Yeah, I mean, if you're close to Philly, and Philly's not unreasonably far from me.
Yeah,
and they're also doing NYC as well, although I don't know where in NYC.
Yeah. Well, I'll be definitely going to the Philly one, so we might as well just go together. So.
Nah. I don't want to.
I feel incredibly left out right now.
Hey, if you want to come to Jersey or PA,
if you want to fly in, like, you're in Eastern Canada, I know that, but I don't know how far you are north or south. And I remember, like, getting to even Southern Canada for us was like a 12-hour car trip, including meals
you would
and
take
stuff.
A plane.
So you would take a plane.
Yeah.
Well, to go to NYC, it's not that long by car or by bus. It's like 8 hours, I think, or maybe even less.
Okay.
Oh, well, go by bus.
Yeah, Montreal is actually not too far from the border.
Oh, it's Montreal.
Not that much.
Okay.
I loved Montreal. Can't wait.
Yeah, for me, it's like a 1-hour train ride.
Yeah. So, I did want to bring that up. I don't have much else to say other than I'm amped as hell. I can't wait, and
and again, these concerts really are an experience. They have like the holographic projections of the characters that look convincing. Again, if people are more familiar with the Miku concerts now, it really is like that, except with the Gorillaz characters. It's like this pretty convincing 3D holograms of the Gorillaz up on stage playing their instruments. It's nuts, and it's not just like they really put like a lot of effort into this, because I've seen some of the stuff on YouTube. They're doing like idle stuff when they're not playing. I remember, like, I didn't know this, I saw in the comments section, but like 2D of the Gorillaz doesn't like rap, and a lot of the Gorillaz songs involve rap. So during the rap parts where you don't have to play music, usually 2D's a singer anyway, right? Like, he'll just like turn away from the stage and just give the audience his back. He just doesn't look until the rap's over. It's like,
I think it's more of a jealousy thing. I think he, like, when he's not the one singing.
Oh, is that why he doesn't?
Yeah,
okay.
Because a lot of his parts are actually rap.
Yeah, the slow parts.
A lot of his parts are rap. So like he has like a rap style that he does.
So when like a guest character comes in, it's like, oh, like do your thing. Yeah, it's just like that. 2D
funny.
can set
Holy
up
shit.
do your thing. Like
yeah, exactly.
I guess you might be right, but like when the rap, like the fast rap comes in, it's like there's no goddamn way.
But nobody can rap like Andre 3000. Nobody.
That was absurd.
Do your thing. I was like, Jesus.
It's no, before that's the easy part. Like everything else is like, nope. Like they don't have a chance.
He's incredibly talented.
Good lord.
But we can move on. I know, Fakafon, you want to talk about a couple things here.
Yeah. Well, these past weeks I actually went to a thing called the Montreal's Comic Festival, FBDM, which means Festival de la BD de Montréal, which probably nobody speaks French here, so who cares?
What does it mean, though? Festival de la BD de Montréal?
BD is short for bande dessinée, which means, basically comics.
Oh, there you go. Okay, so that's what it is. It's Montreal Comic Festival. Okay.
Yeah, but since we're French, we say de and la and le.
Sure.
We always say le something because we're idiots.
Well, that's like Spanish though. It's like Festival of Montreal instead of Montreal Festival. It'd be like festival. It would be like Festival de Montreal or something. Yeah.
Yeah, basically.
And la is the, right? De la is like of the.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's just like Spanish. I remember de la. Where would you use that? Like,
Well, Don Quixote de la Mancha, for example.
Oh, there you go. Okay, yeah.
Of the Mancha.
Yeah.
It's Spanish
Of
for La
the
Mancha. Man de la Mancha.
So this
I'm El
place is
Nino.
kind
That's
of
Spanish for the Nino.
Yeah, the Nino.
the Nino.
Boo.
I think Nino means small or young.
A
means the
little
boy.
boy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Little boy. There we go.
Yeah.
Shit. What was I? Oh yeah. So I went there, the Montreal's Comic Festival, and it's not a big thing. It's like in tents outside in the equivalent of let's say New York's Central Park.
Okay.
It's certainly not as big, but it's like the biggest park in Montreal.
Yeah, I actually went there. There was I went there when I traveled there, and it was amazing. It was a beautiful outdoor area, and it was one of my favorite times there. We also that night watched Blade Runner on the side of a building in
That's pretty
in
cool.
Montreal, which
That's
is
pretty awesome.
really really cool. Yeah, they were having a film festival. They also had one of the nights we watched the French version of Dinner for Schmucks. It's called The Dinner Game, I think, in English, but the one with Steve Carell in it. It was actually a remake of a French movie. So it was actually
Yeah, I
quite
think
good.
Taxi is also a French. It was originally a French movie,
Yeah,
and then
that one's actually by the guy who made Leon the Professional and The Fifth Element.
I kind of want to see Leon the Professional, even though I hear it's a brilliant movie. I want to see it like just for that meme clip. Like, send in everyone. Like, what do you mean everyone? Everyone! It's like, Jesus.
that movie is awesome.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm trying to think of the guy who made the Fifth Element and all this. It's
Yeah, I forgot
what's
his
his
name.
name? Oh my god, this is so dumb because I know it. Well, anyway, I'll remember it.
I'll look it up while you're
So,
talking.
Yes, I was gonna say
Yeah,
that's what
good
I'm
idea.
doing. Yeah.
So it's not big. It's like in big tents, and people set up. It's kind of like a small con.
Okay.
And most of the artists are there. Let me try that again. Most of the artists that are there are, of course, from Quebec, but there's some English-speaking people.
Luc
I know
Besson.
there were some
I'm
people
sorry,
from
yeah, Luc
Japan.
Besson, yeah.
Luc Besson.
Luc Besson, there we go. That's his name. He made a lot of good movies. Especially, he still does some recently too. He made
What was it? It was like
Contact?
Valerian.
Valerian was actually very good. I know it got savaged at the box office, but it was actually great.
Well,
Yeah.
So did The Fifth Element,
Yeah.
and then everyone realized like 10 years later, oh, I actually
Yeah,
liked
later
it.
on,
No,
like, wait, no, this is really
I
good.
watched it last year. It's great. I loved it.
no, you hate it, and you will realize that you liked it later.
I love it.
Oh, sorry.
I love Gene in God Hands. Just like I love it.
I love it.
I can't say.
Nice.
So yeah,
Awesome.
great.
Oni gaishimasu.
I'm not that kind of guy.
Oh yeah.
So this place was really great. There was a lot of artists there. And one of the things that sucks when you're someone like me is like you want to buy everything, right? Like you see all these great comics
that's how
or
cons
little
get you, man.
plushies or just original art too, and you're like, I want to buy it all because
Yep.
they're awesome, and the people. Like the people who are there are like usually really nice. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't think I've met for now like one single artist that was like annoying or an asshole. Like everyone was really nice.
I mean, you're in
awesome.
Canada though. Isn't that like a default thing? Everyone's just nice in
No.
Canada.
No, look, this is how it works in Canada. You know the alignment grid and like in D&D games, like
Yeah,
evil,
like neutral, lawful to chaotic, good to evil. Yeah.
yeah. Here's how Canadians are. We're all neutral, but we act lawful good.
That's great.
That's the truth about
right.
us. But yeah, it was a great experience. I have flat feet, so of course when I came back home, I was full of blisters. But you know
Yeah.
what? Worth it. It was awesome. It's a nice experience, and it's pretty chill. When we went, it was like the second or the third day, so like everyone was exhausted, and they were just like, "Hey," but
Yep.
still, it was cool. Apart from that, yeah, let's talk about a little bit about more tabletop gaming. D&D, Pathfinder, that's my shtick. I love it.
Hey, I haven't played in a million years, but I do love it.
It's fun. Just reading stories or watching people. I know there was a stream really recently about I think it was like Pro Jared and the gang like playing some D&D, and they were just like fucking around. It's pretty fun.
Nice.
Sometimes I watch those. it really depends though, because sometimes when the game is really sometimes it moves really slowly because either the players are thinking too much or they're arguing. So it's like, all right.
Yeah, it happens. Also, the worst has to be when you're creating characters, because that just, especially if you're not experienced players, like me, if I'm playing this, I'm gonna take freaking forever like setting up, and it's just like, well,
you know what?
Yeah.
Even experienced players take a lot of time creating characters. It's
Yeah.
a long process. So that's why it sucks when you die on the first game.
Yeah. Now do it again.
Yeah, that's one of the things when you're a DM. Don't kill your characters just yet. Just wait until they level up at least. You know?
Don't sour the taste of the experience. Like,
Yeah, like,
now,
if it-
I don't want to come back to next week's session. Like, I took all that time and then I just died.
Yeah, it's hard.
It's like
No,
King's
and-
Quest V. Like, you're on the third screen of the game. Look out, a poisonous snake, and you're like,
You're like,
okay,
huh, what? Blech.
And then you're just dead. Like, oh,
Like-
oh,
Yeah, tabletop games, rule of thumb, like the first like couple of encounters, just put people who are like bandits who are not gonna kill you, they're gonna knock you out, steal your stuff and
Yeah.
leave, or maybe just fight some cowards, so as soon as like if the combat is not going into their favor, they'll just flee instead of fighting till the death, you know?
Well, yeah, it is kind of funny when you think about it, because some dude who mugs you, like, it's not, like, if you can actually stand up for yourself, if you're, like, a level 10 warrior, like, this shit isn't worth it. Why is he still fighting you? Like,
Yeah.
dude, he's trying to get money. He's not trying to conquer the freaking world.
A cool thing with that is a lot of scenarios, the way they handle it, like the first battles are going to be like dudes, you know, or goblins, or just like, you know, stuff like that.
Yeah.
But eventually what they do to avoid like the enemies just fleeing because like, oh shit, we're losing, fuck it.
Yeah.
Like they're going to go with cultists. They're going to go with just
Okay. They would fight to the death.
or they're going to go with monsters with like no like survival instincts, like maybe summons or just like
Yeah, or
pure
or, maybe, or
rage.
I was just gonna say, yeah, like just like Warcraft orcs, like they're just like berserk, just go.
Yeah, so they're just gonna fight, or maybe, or like you said, maybe they're like very proud warriors, and dying in battle is what they want.
Yeah, that
so
would be
they
one
wouldn't
thing,
stop.
but that's not going to be like the guy when you start a game.
Oh,
Like,
no,
you're on
certainly
a
not.
dirt path and some punk comes up to you. Like, he doesn't give a shit. Like, he'll leave if things go badly.
I remember I read that somewhere. DM had a really good idea. The first enemies they would encounter were like they were not evil. They're like neutral monks, and what monks can do is they don't have to do lethal damage. They can actually do damage that would not kill you no matter what. So that would be the first enemy.
Yeah, they
so
do
no matter
insist
what.
on fighting barehanded, so they can really ruin your day. But they are monks, so they're not bloodthirsty.
They actually have the ability to not kill you. Like literally, they could punch you forever, but they wouldn't kill you just because the game is like, oh, it's not lethal damage.
That's clever.
So what was I gonna say? Let me look at my notes. Sorry. Oh yeah, there we go. I read a really fun story recently, actually, about I think it was Pathfinder. So it was a party of 4, and they were supposed to be crossing a mountain basically. And one of the guys did not follow the 3 others. I can't remember why, but he was basically stuck. He was supposed to reach them at the mountain, but he was stuck between like a forest, a camp, and the mountain. And the camp was like full of like these warrior orcs or dwarves or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So this guy is a master bluffer. So it's like, all right, you know, instead of like trying to stealth his way or like finding a longer road around,
Finesse
he
it.
said, I'm gonna go through with my bluff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he enters the camps, and of course the guys are like, what the fuck are you doing here? It's like, and then the guy's like, you know what? You guys don't want to mess with me. I got an army of 50 men in the forest right behind me, ready to kick all of your ass if you don't let me through.
Mm-hmm.
And so the bluff works. He has like amazing bluff, so it works. But seeing as these guys were like warriors, they're actually excited. They're not scared. They're like, holy shit, all right,
That's
50
great.
guys, send them. So at this point, the player's like, oh fuck, that didn't go as
That's
planned.
fantastic.
You know? But the player actually did something really clever. So he's like, all right, they believe me. They believe there's 50 guys who's about to fight him. So he's like, all right, here we come, man. And he snaps his fingers or whatever. And obviously nothing happens.
Yeah.
So he does a double bluff. He turns around. He's like, wait, my man, the forest. They got cut. The monsters. Like he gets like he acts all panic and he starts running through the warriors. And at this point, the warriors are like, what the fuck is going on? They don't stop him, of course, because they're wondering what's going on.
Yeah.
The guy passes because they were all too confused to stop him.
Nice.
Wow.
Yeah, so that's really fun. You know, when you do an action in an RPG, it doesn't necessarily have either a direct effect or the effect you wanted. You know,
Yeah, that's fantastic.
Like- you know when you play like most of these video games, like Neverwinter Nights, whatever, you use diplomacy. The person, if you succeed, the person immediately agrees with you, and like
Yeah.
everything goes. So sometimes it's fun to have like a either a smaller effect or a long term effect, like something that will happen way later,
Well,
where
yeah,
you
well-
help that guy. He didn't help you now, but later on he comes back.
Yeah, because it is kind of funny because like these direct like, oh, you rolled a 20, so I guess no matter how stupid it is, it passes. Like that's when you get like those goofy like memes online or whatever where like, you know, like you're wearing like a sign around your neck that has a guy's name on it. It's like, I believe you're him. And it's just like, okay, like
I am he.
yeah, that yep, that's right. That's
Look,
me.
I have his
I'm a
necklace. I have
celebrity.
to be him.
Yeah.
You know, nobody else wears this. Come
Yeah.
on.
Wow.
So I love interactions like that where like the results, like sometimes it's also good to keep it simple. Like if you use a bluff or diplomacy, sometimes you can do a speech. It helps, like
Yeah.
especially if you want to like pump up the troops, for example. But sometimes you can keep it really simple. Like for example, I read another thing. A guy was disguising himself as a guard, and he managed to fool the guards into like going into a tower. He was retrieving like, I think it was a cell key or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
But then the captain of the guard comes in, and the captain of the guard is like no fool. He knows his man, you know.
Yeah.
So he stops him. He's like, "Hey, who the hell are you?" And the guy bluffs. He looks at the captain, then he looks behind himself, and then he looks back to the captain like, and then he points at himself like, "Me?"
Yeah, that'll do it.
And actually, what the DM did is because the bluff was so high, he rolled a really really excellent bluff. So the captain reacted by like being embarrassed, be like, "Oh, I'm sorry. Like, I guess you're supposed to be here," you know.
Nice.
Like the guard, like the player acted as he was confused, like, "Is he talking about me? What the fuck?" You know.
Yeah, yeah.
So that's fun. Anyway, that's pretty much. I got a lot more stories, but I don't want to go on forever. So, you know, we can move on.
Okay.
Okay.
I wanted to quick mention this because there were a couple of these that just were great. But for anybody who is familiar with the Control-Alt-Delete thing that's been going around, Lotus, you know
yeah.
about this.
Yeah.
So, a few years ago, I think it was like at this point, I think it happened in 2008.
Yeah, I think this was like a 10-year anniversary thing. Yeah.
Yeah, there was a pretty popular webcomic called Control-Alt-Delete that
Oh yeah.
almost that had a all of a sudden out of nowhere a you know, it was always a comedy based comic, and out of nowhere they had a very super like incredibly serious one.
Yeah.
Almost comically so. I guess because that's the way people reacted to it. But there's a 4-panel comic that the artist came out with that was that involved one of the characters having a miscarriage.
Yeah, I read that one actually.
Yeah, and it's very heartbreaking and is a really good comic on its own. But I think it clashed with the.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like that would have been rough in any context. Like nobody wants to read that, but like just out of nowhere, it's like whoa! Like it's like a gut punch out of nowhere.
Yeah, and the comic had never dealt with like real life problems before that or anything like that. So, it has since been lampooned by a lot of people.
Yeah, the comic was called Loss for that reason, and it's kind of become a meme. Like you know the game meme where like, you know, oh, you just lost the game, like
Yeah.
and like, you know, you lose the game if you ever think about it or whatever. Loss was kind of like that. People will like just have some random thing they're talking about, and all of a sudden, boom! I hit you with a Lost comic. Like, haha! Now got you. It's almost like that
now,
kind of thing.
Now the forum thread is over. Like, it's
Yeah.
Like, well, that people have been making some really funny reactions to it. I mean, the and I'll put this in context. I do not find the subject of the comic funny in the slightest. But what is funny is the tone out of nowhere, and like the change in tone is dramatic, and
Yeah,
and
well,
not
not only that, but like when something hits so hard it becomes famous.
yeah.
It can become a meme on its own. Like the most famous one I was aware of before this was the little girl dog chimera in Full Metal Alchemist, Where,
God.
where now it's a meme that when people post that, everyone responds in all caps, OMG, how could you post this? And, like, you know, we're way past this. It's been 10 years, but, like, you just kind of do it now,
Yeah.
you know? So, like, the Lost thing has become that. Like, yes, it's brutal, but, like, at this point, that's the joke. Like, it was not a joke when it came out.
Yeah, we're not making fun of the actual, you know, the subject matter. We're making fun of how serious it is. With the gravity of it. But anyway, so apparently the original artist, this is by far the best one of the best reaction that's come out of this.
People got legit mad at this one too, though.
Yeah, but I think I'm gonna save that for last. But I wanted to reveal some of the ones that people have done. So I saw this one that was like a maze. Did you see this?
That was the one. That was my favorite one.
Okay.
What?
So this guy, there's just like this maze, and like there's a video.
It's a really
of this
big,
guy,
complicated maze.
Yeah, it's a big, complicated maze with a paint can in the middle. And it's just a black and white
It's like something
maze.
for a little kid, though. Like it's like the kind of maze like you'd see like in a little kid's activity book, like in a restaurant menu. Can you solve the maze? It's just but way more complicated.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's super complicated, and this guy's just looking at it, and he's like, I wonder what you're supposed to do. So he goes into Paint or Photoshop or whatever, and takes the paint tool instead because he's trying to actually figure out the maze, by going through it, and he figures out that he's wasting his time by doing that. That's not the solution to the maze. So he goes and takes the paint can, and it's just he fills it in with black ink.
He clicks part of the white space.
White space, and the whole maze turns into a silhouette of the four panel.
And he's like, "Oh, I'm at a loss for words." There's like, nobody saw that coming. Because that's become the magic of the Lost comic, is that, like, it's not just posting the comic, like, oh, I hit you with it, like, people try sneaking it in.
It's the surprise,
like,
yeah.
I saw a clip, like, I saw 4 pictures of screenshots of, like, a new episode of an anime, and it was, like, these characters talking in front of, like, there's a house in the background, and somebody put, like, the guy from the Lost comic, like, you could barely see him, like, in the window of the house with, like, the different positions he was in across all 4 panels, and it's like, wow, dude, like, you really snuck that one in. Yeah.
And then there's the one that I sent you yesterday, which I think is quite the triumph. So it's the main character basically performs the world.
That was so stupid.
And then at the end drops the steamroller on the girl.
What?
Roll
from
JoJo's
Bizarre Adventure.
Yeah, hurry! He had the knives and then the steamroller. It's like, what? That wasn't even the Lost comic either. It was like a 2-panel thing of just him being Dio. It's like, thanks.
But the best by far is if you go back to the original posting of the comic. Did you hear about this?
No, I did.
Oh, okay.
No, I didn't.
So if you go to the original posting of the comic, like if
from
you go to
10 years
on
ago
on the website from 10 years ago, if you go and look at Lost, the last panel is changed to have the main character have a really goofy fucking look on his face.
Yeah, instead of looking sad, he looks almost like he's not happy, but like it's like Seinfeld. Do you remember in Seinfeld where George's fiance died?
Yeah.
And like
yeah,
they
by
were
like,
like
the envelope.
Yeah, it's like so yeah, for the cheap envelopes. But like the cause of death was from poison found in really cheap. But like so she died, but like George's reaction is like so she's dead. Yes. Well, who wants coffee? The Lost meme like is kind of like what the Doctor describes George's reaction as in the final episode of Seinfeld. Like, how would you say George? What would you say George's expression was? Suppressed jubilation. Like the guy in the Lost meme looked like he was kind of like almost smiling. And the thing was, though, because it's the actual author of the Lost comic, like, it becomes like brutal and offensive all over again. So like people actually got mad at this one, but because Lost has become a meme, it's become funny to some people early. Honestly, I appreciate the humor behind it, but I'm kind of like, I don't know, man. Like, I still like the maze. I'll go with the maze because that's somebody else making a Lost meme joke and not like... that's bordering on bad taste, man. Like, even though I get the humor, it's like,
I just like...
too soon.
I think what I like about it is that the author, the writer of the comic has enough poise to get
That
in
is
on
true.
the joke.
Well, actually, I think my favorite part about it is that he stealthed it. Like, somebody just discovered this. Like, they went back to the... Because this was not a new post. This was an update to the old post. You had to go back to that. I don't know why the hell you even would. But if you did, you'd be like, whoa, wait, what? So, like, that's kind of the humor right there, is that, like, you might have missed it. So that went viral on the internet. All of a sudden, everyone on social media is talking about the Lost comic again, like, more than usual. That's why.
Yeah.
You know what's...
Yeah.
Speaking of webcomics, I actually want to say this on the air, because last time I didn't. You guys know I have a webcomic, right?
I believe so, yeah.
Yeah, I like it quite a bit.
I know you've mentioned it on the stream a couple times.
Yeah, well, I just wanted to say on the air, this webcomic is in great part thanks to you guys, for actually happening. When I drew my webcomic along, okay, this is really hard to say, and I think I'm getting something in my throat. Shit. I'm just gonna say this. Thank you very much for being there, Lotus and Vice and everyone, because you guys actually helped me create the webcomic for real, and because of you guys, the webcomic actually exists and is on the web, and there we go.
Well, thank you, man. I mean, like that really does mean a lot.
That's actually a huge compliment. I don't think I could get a better compliment than inspiration. To be very honest.
Actually, speaking of which, at the end of the cast, just like mention a link to the comic, and I'll drop it in the text description as well.
You know what? I didn't even think of that. Yes, I will. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this podcast is here for us to plug our own personal projects and all that, but so that's not out of place in the slightest, and we'd love to. I'm sure plenty of the fans would love to see what you have going on.
Oh, I hope so.
I mean, like, I saw that that Diddy Kong Racing video you linked me to. Like, obviously I've seen your title cards and stuff. Like, I love your art as well. Like, it's quality stuff.
Thank you.
Yeah, I like I said, I can't. It's kind of a dream of mine to have somebody take us that way. So that means a lot to me for you to tell us that.
Absolutely.
There have been so many times in my life where I was discouraged and didn't have the will to create, and with the help of friends, I've been able to run this podcast, and it's a thing that runs without me sometimes, and that to me, somebody, like a group of people wanting to do something that I thought of and enjoying it without even my input, is a huge thing, and knowing that, like, outside of our friend group, people that aren't just trying to be nice because of my friend, because they're my friend, that's a huge deal. And
in fact, you know how genuine we are because Old Man Stumpy and I just shit on you when you're not here. 4 Heroes of Light? Are you kidding me, Vice? Really?
I love friendly ribbing more than anything, believe it or not. To me, that's a compliment. So that's what I try to convey when I do it. So my tactless insults are
yeah, I was gonna say that.
Always done with love.
Yeah, and now Falcomon's like, oh, thank God, like, I'm not gonna, like, oh, that breakdown at the beginning of Varsity was for nothing.
They hated me.
Yeah, Jesus, why did he ask me on? What the hell is this?
Vagabond, go away and never come back.
Oh yeah, that was right. I forgot. We didn't mention this because it wouldn't logically have come up, but it was super funny. Like, sometimes when I'm not on the cast, but like, I'm the guy who edits the Corrective Consciousness, like the Tuesday podcast, and occasionally, like, if I'm not on, sometimes Pyro or Vice will just be like, "Hi, Lotus," and like it doesn't make it onto the cast because it's before the official thing starts, but it's just this, like, it's a really basic thing, but when I, like, hear it, it's actually like, aw. But like I remember one time Vice was not on the cast, so it was, me and Old Man Stompy, and but Vice was editing Reactive. Vice edits Reactive.
Sure.
And I remember before the podcast starts, Old Man Stompy was like, and Vice, if you're listening to this,
Go away.
go away. It was like the funniest goddamn thing.
I think you left it in, right?
Oh, did I leave that in?
Oh
no, I did leave that. Yeah, I left part
sound.
of that in.
It was the secret sound.
That was right. It was at the end. That was funny as hell. That's right. It did make it on. It was post end theme. That was funny as hell.
I heard that. It was really funny.
Go away from your own laptop, Vice.
I preserved it for that episode.
Your posterity.
Yeah.
God damn, that was funny. Like I was dying during that.
Oh, I
that really
so
threw me
hard.
by surprise.
Other people need to hear this.
Because it wasn't even a hardcore insult. Just go away. Like what? Like, the whole reason he's doing this is he's not here already. yeah, he is away.
Go away. Or...
Go double away.
Well, I think unless anybody else has anything else to add this week, I think we can wrap up.
I'm done.
Anybody else have anything else to say?
I want to talk about my trip to Chicago.
Well,
it's on the notes. Someone's talking about it.
Oh, okay.
No, I know you put more focus on that in corrective. I think the reactive was like just in case.
Oh,
I didn't know there was another bullet point. I'm so sorry.
No,
I'm like, no, we're done here. Cool.
Oh well, I'll mention it here. Then I will talk about it. So I of course went to Chicago with my girlfriend, and we had an amazing time. We actually really had a great time exploring the city. In fact, what we did was we did it like every touristy thing you could think of and crammed it all in the 3 days. So it was.
Did you go to all the locations where the Blues Brothers performed?
Yeah, we even saw Carrie Fisher shooting a flamethrower. It was fantastic.
Yeah. Actually, wasn't Batman like maybe it was The Dark Knight Rises or something? Wasn't that filmed in Chicago?
No, it was.
Yes, it was actually.
Well,
wait, no, it wasn't.
It was filmed in several cities, but the majority of it was filmed in Pittsburgh.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
But because Pittsburgh, if you've ever been there, is kind of eerie. So Pittsburgh has a population that is much lower than what it's built for, because the town used to have a lot more inhabitants. So you go there and you walk through this big city, with all these buildings, and there'll be nobody around.
Oh, it's like that scene in the Devil's Advocate, like toward the end of the movie. Have you seen that movie?
No, I haven't. No.
There's a scene toward the end where shit's about to go down. Keanu Reeves is the main character. There's a scene where he needs to go and meet the villain of the movie for like a final confrontation. So it's like, you could just find me over at this building. Just go on ahead. And he's like, okay. And this takes place in New York City. And it's the most surreal fucking shot of the movie, because it's like this really far up overhead view. And you just see Keanu Reeves walking by himself in New York City. Like, that literally never... Even at night, where there's far fewer people around, there's fucking somebody. Like, there was nobody there in broad daylight, and it just looked weird. It was brilliant. Phantasm 4 tried doing that on the Las Vegas Strip, which was also like, no one? What? We kind of had that when we went to PAX East in Boston, because, like... This was my own ignorance. I was like, oh, it's a big city, kind of like how New York City is a big city.
No, the whole city shuts down except for bars.
Yeah, like New York City is known as the city that never sleeps for a reason. If all cities never slept, that title would be meaningless. So like past 6 or 7, there's just nobody in Boston, and I'm like, what? I'm just walking down the city streets. It was like, okay.
Yeah, you like in New York, you can get literally anything you want at any time.
Yeah, you want some particular country's food at like 3 a.m. Find a stand. There is a stand. There's some kiosk. There's some food truck somewhere. No problem.
Yeah. So Chicago was awesome. We did the deep dish pizza thing, which
of course. Yeah.
Ooh, Kobe pizza.
So
what did you say,
Kobe pizza. My pizza.
Yeah.
My pizza.
Vice never actually got to eat the pizza. He was so mad.
It fell into my soup.
It sunk like the rest of the season.
Yeah. So from anybody that doesn't know, that's from our Snatcher Let's Play. Please check it out.
Yeah, I
Amazing
remember
moment.
before the actual Let's Play, I remember I was following a walkthrough to go through Snatcher when you were introducing me to the game, and you had never seen that scene, and that just slayed you.
Yeah.
Like where Gillian just gets salty over a meal. It's just like there's like he's literally going like like it's fantastic.
It's amazing.
So, for anybody that doesn't know, Chicago deep dish pizza is a lot different than your typical pizza. Most people probably know like the New York style pizza or Philadelphia style pizza.
And I get you don't have to have been to New York or Philadelphia to eat
No.
this, but like the triangle wedge, you know, like it's general American style pizza.
Yeah, exactly. Pretty much everybody around the world knows what this type of pizza is. Even you know where they
You've seen it in movies enough
yeah,
times.
everybody knows.
Yeah.
What the Ninja Turtles eat is New York style pizza.
You can get it in Japan. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
So anyway,
That is true. Actually, a Yakuza 5 has a mission where you get like American style, like you would deliver American style pizza to somebody.
yeah.
It's kind of
Nice.
amazing.
So Chicago deep
maybe
dish
not 5 or
pizza
whatever.
is completely different. So it has a ton of toppings, and it's deep dish. It like has a crust that's is pretty thick, almost like a pie crust.
Oh wow.
Lining the bottom.
That is deep dish.
Bottom of a pan and up the sides of the pan. So it's most of the it's all the sides of the pan.
So it actually has like a slice of pizza actually has a solid foundation then.
Yes, very much so.
Because with the New York style pizza, if you only hold it by the crust with one hand, then the front will flop down.
No.
So like you need to hold it with two hands to eat it properly.
No, in fact, the crust is very structurally stable, so you could grab it just by the edge.
That is an advantage because with New York style pizza, there's a reason that's why a lot of people fold the crust over to get a better grip on it.
Mm-hmm. So, and then the toppings and cheese go first. Typically with sausage is the typical style, is the typical topping, and then the sauce goes on top, and it's like
on top. The sauce goes on top of the toppings.
Yes.
Okay.
Whoa, that's different. Because usually, I'm used to sauce being on the bottom, and then the cheese covers the sauce, and whatever other toppings you order go on top of the cheese, so they could fall off.
Correct.
Yeah, all the time.
So and it's like a more it's more of a raw style sauce, meaning it hasn't been cooked down. It's not liquidy. It has chunks of tomato in it.
Okay. Wow, Chicago's wildly different.
So most people will know this style of pizza from the Uno chain, Pizzeria Uno.
Ah, yes, that's right.
So apparently that's where Pizzeria Uno in Chicago is where it originated, that style.
Makes sense then.
However, it's gotten commercialized, and that's made in a factory somewhere.
Yeah, I mean, like there's an Uno like 15 minutes from where I live, like near a movie theater. They're around.
So the chef that came up with the recipe actually started his own chain of restaurants called Lou Malnati's. There's also another place called Giordano's, but Lou Malnati's is by the original guy who started up the original recipe. So if you wanted to try it how it originally tasted, you go to this place. It's more authentic.
Okay.
And it's great. It was really, really good. Me and my girlfriend really enjoyed it. We also went on an architecture tour. We went on a boat and went around a tour of the Chicago River, and they pointed out all of the different buildings and their origins, like all the different years that they were built and all that. Chicago's also was home of the original skyscraper before it was torn down as well.
Was it windy constantly?
It was pretty windy there. Yeah.
Actually, here's a serious question: is Chicago called the Windy City because of skyscrapers? Because New York City is crazy windy because of the air getting like funneled through the between spaces of the buildings.
Yeah.
Like, if you're out in the open, it might not be so bad, but if you're walking like close to buildings, you could kind of get blasted.
So it is very windy there, but I think the origin of that story is that it was a commentary, a political commentary about bags of wind in the political system in Chicago.
Windbags.
Yes.
That's funny.
So it was used as a metaphor,
Wow.
as the city is actually windy because of its geography.
Sure.
And it's right off of Lake Michigan. And it has also the Chicago River there, but there's plenty of wind, and it gets very cold there in the winter. Their winters are very harsh.
Wind over a lake, that'll be freezing.
Not quite as bad as Buffalo, which gets it the worst probably in America.
Buffalo gets fucking wrecked. I talked to someone. Well, Vice, you know who this person is,
sure.
but we know who lives in Buffalo, and this person sent me photos of this is winter in Buffalo, and this person's just snowed in. You can't even shovel the driveway. You can't leave your house. It's feet of snow.
And
that bad, huh? Shit.
Actually, I mean that's not necessarily a regular thing, but 1 or 2 winters ago it was just devastating to Buffalo.
Actually, the big problem became that there was so much snow on the roofs, there was danger of cave-ins.
Yeah.
Oh.
And by the way, I don't know if anybody really wondered this, but that's why traditionally house roofs are slanted. For that reason, for heavy rains or for snow, they could slide off. If you have normally you would think, I want to build a house. I'll build vertical walls and a horizontal roof. But no, with enough weight, you could just collapse the roof. It's like how you know flatbed trucks the I don't mean the kind you can buy. I mean businesses that have the really long metal flatbeds. Have you ever seen them when they're not carrying anything?
Oh, sure. They go up straight in the air.
Yeah, they're curved upward to compensate for the weight, because the weight of the load will press it down and make it actually flat. Because if they didn't do that, then the weight would, push it below the horizontal point. You don't want that. So that's why roofs are slanted, because rain's going to happen, and depending where you live, snow's going to happen. So, don't let it break your house.
Let's see what else we did. We went to the John Hancock Tower and went to the observation deck up there.
Was the John Hancock Tower very large and more obnoxiously bigger than any other building around it?
Yes, actually, it's actually very.
That's fantastic.
It's one of the tallest buildings in the city. It's almost as tall as the Willis Tower, which was formerly the Sears Tower.
The Sears Tower, but is the John Hancock building pretentious looking though?
No, it's
too bad.
It's pretty normal.
How does a building become pretentious looking?
Well, no, the reason I'm asking is that
this
is an American thing, but on the Constitution or was it Declaration of Independence?
Declaration of Independence.
It was a declaration. All the founding fathers signed it, but for some reason John Hancock's signature is gigantic.
Well,
that's literally.
There's a good reason.
Really? Because that's literally the reason people know who he is today. The guy with the big bigger than everyone's
letters.
He was the secretary of the meeting.
Okay.
So he was the one overseeing the proceedings. So
fair enough. So he's the guy whose signature is diagonal and across the whole page. He's that guy.
Yeah. Well, there's a reason why his is the largest. It's because he's officiating it.
Sure.
So it is a joke, but there is a reason why he did it.
All right.
Yeah. But anyway, what else did we do? Oh, we did so many things. We went to and saw Wrigley Field.
Nice.
We went to Boys.
Was it delicious and chewy?
Oh, I doubled my pleasure and doubled my fun.
Yes.
Bubble Fest gum.
But we went to their gay section of town, which is called Boys Town, which was actually really fun.
Nice.
Kind of like Philadelphia. Philadelphia has an official gay.
That's right. Yeah.
Oh, you know what? So does Montreal.
Yeah. It's actually one of our nicest sections of town, and it's awesome. There's a lot of bohemian stuff going there, and a lot of art, and it's just great. And we had a great time. We went to this fantastic hamburger place called Kuma.
Wait, how do you spell that?
Like the bear from Japan.
I was gonna say like
Kuma
bear. Yeah. Okay.
Now,
so it's a Kuma then.
So what this place was awesome. All of the burgers were named after heavy metal bands.
Oh, sweet!
And they were playing horror movies like Clive Barker's
Hellraiser?
Hellraiser 2 was playing on the TV.
That's a good one.
Like
Wait,
unedited.
that's a violent one.
Yep.
Like that's like a look away from the camera sometimes movie.
I had to look away because
some of those scenes are like Hellraiser 1 had a couple of like ooh scenes, but Hellraiser 2 gets brutal.
I was looking at a skinned like person.
Yeah.
Like, but anyway.
Ooh, that's good for the appetite.
Yeah, right.
And then
a lot of red meat.
There were heavy metal music videos playing on in the background too. It was a really cool place.
Nice.
And
they had such sights to show you.
Yeah. We had a great time there. We also went to the Galloping Ghost, and we also went to the famous a Chicago-style hot dog place called Portillo's, which also had Italian beef sandwiches that they're famous there for as well.
Nice.
So we just had we went to a great steakhouse too. They're known for their steakhouses. We just had a great time. This was the first time that we had explored a place together, like a new place together. So it was really.
Did you have to implore your girlfriend to explore?
No, she had to implore me. She
is implore the opposite of explore?
Oh, I get it now.
She actually put together the itinerary and did a great job planning the whole thing. It was really a great time. I loved being there with her. It was, we had a fantastic view in our hotel too, so it was perfect. It was a really good time. So I just wanted to bring that up, and I think that should wrap us up though. We
sure.
we had quite a lengthy one, but we had a lot of really cool topics this time around. So that's the show for this week. Please remember to subscribe to this Corrective Consciousness YouTube and SoundCloud pages. While there, please give us thumbs ups, likes, and 5-star ratings on iTunes. Helps promote and spread awareness of the show, and any bit of encouragement helps keep the show going. You can also catch us on Tuesday on our sister podcast, Corrective Consciousness, the podcast about our lives and pop culture. Finally, you can find me as Vice the Bold on Steam, PSN, Xbox Live, Twitter, Switch, and Battle.net.
And you could find me and my YouTube channel, Lotus Prince. You could hit me up on Twitter at Lotus Prince. And finally, if you are interested in seeing my videos early, getting in on exclusive live streams, or even selecting upcoming games for me to Let's Play, then perhaps consider swinging by my Patreon account, which can be found at patreon.com/LotusPrince.
And you can find me on YouTube as Fakafon. On Twitter, I'm Lou Fakafon. That's LOUPFAKAFON. That's hard to spell.
That's all one word, like LUOP, like PF, yeah, like it's all at once. Yeah.
It's all at once, yeah.
Okay.
I don't think you can put spaces in your names, right?
I don't think so. It's like underscore at best, but that's just. I did underscore with Twitch back in the day, and that was a mistake.
If you look hard enough on Steam, you might find me as Fakafon if you explore the deep Steam web. And be sure to visit my webcomic, Kadrula-chan, on kadrula.com. That's CADRULA.com. It's basically Dracula, but it's Kadrula instead.
Ah, there we go.
That's the pun.
The big twist is that she was Dr. Acula the whole time.
Now you need to have a son that's the backward spelling of that, whatever that ends up being.
Yeah.
It's Alordak.
Alordak.
Perfect.
There we go.
Alordak, that sounds so stupid. Yeah, as you can guess, it's a story about, a vampire and just goofy stuff.
Awesome. Well, everybody, please check that out, and we will catch everybody next week, where we'll have episode 100 on Tuesday of Corrective Consciousness. So please check in for that.
Until next time, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Yeah, good night.